If you didn't know who Kacey Musgraves is before this year, you probably know her now after she cleaned up at the Grammys and gave us a memeable facial reaction that will live on the internet forever. But country singer Kacey didn't just rise to fame in one night. She has been working her behind off for years to get where she is now. Kacey Musgraves was born in Golden, Texas to her parents Craig and Karen Musgraves in August of 1988. She was supposed to be born around October, but she was born 6 weeks premature, coming in at only 5 pounds. Her mother was an artist and her father owned a printing company, so she grew up in an artistic household, although not specifically a musical household. When she sat down for an interview with CBS this morning, she told Gayle King she grew up wanting to be a singer and would just sing into anything, a hairbrush, a broomstick, a karaoke mic. She began songwriting in elementary, and her first song ever was called Notice Me, which is probably a more palatable way to get an adult's attention rather than a temper tantrum. But she didn't make her public singing debut until the late age of 8 at her church. From then on, she would hit the regional Opry circuit every weekend. She told an interviewer, quote, "In Texas, every few towns have an Opry house. Performers come up on stage and sing old country songs with a live band. I did that every weekend. It got me familiar with being in front of people and working with musicians." She started taking guitar lessons from a local musician at the age of 12 and stated these lessons were, quote, "one of the most important things that ever happened to me. He could tell early on that I wasn't the kind of student who was going to go home and shred scales, so he taught me chords and encouraged me to write. My homework every week would be to write a song. I'd bring it back to him the next week and he would critique it." She admits her first songs were pretty bad because she hadn't found her voice yet, but writing a new song every week made her appreciate the creative process. She said, quote, "I learned not to be scared, to just throw an idea out there. I had no clue how useful this would be to me when I moved to Nashville and signed a publishing deal." Yes, Kacey, you go girl, working hard. When Kacey turned 18, she had already had a self-funded album thanks to her parents and grandparents, and she was ready to move to Austin, only to then move to Nashville for a show called Nashville Star. While she did not do too well on the show, finishing 7th, she was introduced to the wonder of Nashville and made the decision to move there permanently to pursue songwriting. To make money, she sang on other artists' demos and worked on her own songwriting after hours. She got her first hit in 2012, 4 years after moving to Nashville, with the song Merry-Go-Round. The song became critically acclaimed, which led to NPR naming her their 2012 Best New Artist. And from there, she only continued to rise. In 2013, she had a mega hit with the song Follow Your Arrow, a song she almost gave away. In an interview with Reese Witherspoon, she explained the label encouraged her to give up the song, as the song dealt with issues they did not think would resonate with country fans. She said, quote, "My label was like, people are going to hate it. You're going to go down in flames in the country world." I was like, look, I'm fine with that. This is something I want to say, and there's all kinds of country people out there, you know? Yes, Kacey, you go girl, stand your ground. After almost giving the song to Katy Perry, she decided to stick to her guns and keep it for herself, which proved to the right choice as it later went platinum and won a CMA. Yeah, you heard me right. The album, Same Trailer, Different Park, ended up winning the CMA Album of the Year that year, and Kacey was quick to tour with it for a couple of months. Not long after, she started working on her second studio album titled Pageant Material, and sometime in the middle of 2016, she started her third studio album and most recent release, Golden Hour. But that was not an easy album for her to write. She admits that 2016-2017 was all about change. According to an interview in Spin, everything changed for her, from her business management to band members to tour manager to new producers and songwriters. She said, quote, "I was in a weird place personally. I was getting out of a long relationship. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. I didn't feel great about myself, so I needed time to figure it out again." And girl, she figured it out. And that's when Kacey decided to venture out to the famous Bluebird Cafe in Nashville to see a friend perform. Hitting up touristy spots is not something she normally does, but this night, she decided to go. And thank God she did, because this was the night she saw her now husband, Rustin Kelly, for the first time. She told Hits Daily Double, "Rustin played his first song and I was just stunned by everything in it. When it was over, I went up and introduced myself. I said, hey, I don't really ever do this, but here's my number. I really want to write with you." And the two were married over a year later in October of 2017. Aw, now that's how you do it, Kacey. In March of 2018, her third studio album, Golden Hour, was released and the album immediately shot up the charts. She went home with several Grammys, including Best Country Solo Performance, Best Country Album, Best Country Song, and the most coveted Best Album. She basically did a clean sweep with all the awards, and we are not mad about it. But this fame isn't getting to her at all. Even when she accepted the award for Best Album, she was sure to point out in her speech how incredible the competition was this year, and quote, "Winning this doesn't make my album any better than anybody else's in that category. They're all so good." We definitely stan a humble queen, and we also stan Kacey's Barbie look at the Met Gala this year. She certainly slayed and even showed up in a Barbie car. Truly dreams coming true. We love the messages Kacey has in her music and can't wait to see more from her. But we want to know what you think. Which is your favorite Kacey Musgraves song? Let us know in the comments below and make sure to subscribe to Awesomeness TV. Bye!